his writing. So in a certain way, I will say that my reading habit also developed with this change. Now I continue to read. That's one of my great pastimes. But after all this reading, a question that comes to me, which is what I like to share with you, is maths, there is some certainty. Natural sciences, actually, we had a professor called D.S. Kotari, who, when I was studying in Delhi University, and he was also the chairman of the University Grants Commission, and he used to teach every weekend. He used to come to the Delhi University Physics Department and teach the students. He used to teach quantum mechanics. So he used to give an example. He will say that the equations of motion of a spinning top, you have the top, you spin it on the ground, it will move. It has three kinds of movements. One is it is moving, rotating very fast. Then it is also moving in a certain area. It is not in a fixed area. And third, it is precessing. So there are three kinds of movements: a rotational motion, a translational motion, and a precession. And the equations of a spinning top means you write equations to combine all those three motions. That you do in first year college physics. And yes, it's quite tough when you do it the first time. So he says the first time when you do it, you find it tough. But the moment you have mastered it, it is so easy. On the other hand, issues of the world, what should be the policy of government? How do we get rid of poverty? How do we get rid of tensions caused in society because of discrimination based on caste or sex or place of birth? These appear to be very easy. Every person has an opinion on what needs to be done, but actually is very, very difficult. So he said, while the equations of a spinning top appear to be very tough, but finally turns out to be easy. On the other hand, how to deal with various problems of society appears to be easy, but actually are very, very tough. And that is where these kinds of conferences like MUN and debating, because in all these issues, there are various points of view. It's not that one point of view is right and another point of view is wrong. The ability to understand the assumptions that you make while arriving at a particular point of view is important. Now, while discussing these international issues or while discussing the national issues, which in recent times have got a little exaggerated because the political party in power is taking a certain dogmatic view that they have an agenda. So then you find that there are fault lines in society. There are fault lines caused by religion. When a baby is born, the DNA doesn't have any religion. The deoxyribonucleic acid doesn't have any religion. There are divisions in society based on caste. Very worrisome. But whether you like it or not, exploitation is taking place. People like me believe that the rape that occurred in Hathras was basically a caste violence. It was not merely rape. And the narrative that is being created now is based on caste dominance. Then there are fault lines of economic classes. The rich, the poor, you have the big capitalists and the working class. Then there is race. Recently in the world, for a very long time, even when I studied in America, I did see a lot of mixed community, but it was peaceful times. There was student protests in those days when I was in the US as a student. That was against the Vietnam War, against the US participation in Vietnam War. But during my stay, I never saw any open violence between blacks and whites, which came out in the open very recently. Ethnicity. Ethnicity means people look slightly different. That happened recently even in India. About 2 years ago, a lot of northeastern boys and girls ran away from Bangalore because they were being harassed. They were being singled out. They went back to the northeast. So when we look at people coming from the northeast, because they look, the racial features are different, many start feeling that they're different from us. So fault lines of ethnicity, language. There are various languages in India. Place of birth. In the state of Tamil Nadu, political parties have come to power only on the fear that Hindi is getting imposed on them. And that gets opened out again and again. Recently, there was a big controversy because some airport officer asked Kanimozhi, who is a prominent leader of the DMK, what is it? You don't know Hindi? And it became a big kind of flare up on that. Place of birth, sexual orientation, superstition. So there are a lot of these fault lines. It's necessary for us to understand these fault lines and also how to heal them, how to bring them together. Even nationalism. What do we mean by nationalism? I remember when I was collector at Satara, in Satara, there is a Sainik school. And for a function of the Sainik school, a big annual day function, Air Chief Marshal Latif, who was the governor of Maharashtra at that time, came as the chief guest. And I, as collector, obviously also remained present. Also, it was necessary when the governor of the state is coming to be with him for protocol, as protocol. So I still remember Air Chief Marshal Latif. This was in the year 1981. Air Chief Marshal Latif giving a speech to all the students and saying that, why it is necessary for us to, he introduced himself as somebody who was born in Hyderabad, in an aristocratic Muslim family, then joined the defense forces, went to various places. Then he finally said, I belong to a minority called the Indian. And everybody clapped. He put it very, very beautifully. The point I'm making is every generation of students or every generation has a historical role to play. And you need to take stands after careful thinking. But while taking a stand, it should never be dogmatic. At least that's what I believe in. It could be because of my science background. I'm a great believer in having a healthy skepticism that I can be wrong. I'm greatly influenced by people like T.H. Huxley, where whenever you see a new fact, please look at it like a small child looks at facts. Like in the last 2 days, you have discussed various fault lines, which included these human rights violations against minorities, ethnic minorities. Well, ask yourself, they are right now taking place in India. Digital violence against women, yes. With so much of the internet and WhatsApp and SMS, there is no code of conduct which used to exist. When we were students of your age, we used to be taught even table manners. Now in a digital world also, should there not be some courtesy? Some things which are accepted, some things not accepted? Or is it a free for all? So situations, new technologies do create its own challenges. What is most important is to think about them, have debates on it, understand various points of view, and develop thinking. And always have that scientific temperament, that just because, never be judgmental about people. One of your friends has a different point of view. That doesn't mean that you don't have to be judgmental about that person and say that he or she is wrong. Well, he or she, they have a point of view. I have a point of view. Fine. Finally, if we are not able to sort it out, let's agree to disagree. So I think all these debating forums, the UN MUNs, all of you have done great work. And I completely agree with Aditya and Ishan that these things, besides creating topics on which you debate, also creates qualities of leadership, the organizational capacities of doing various things, all of which is what makes you good leaders, good citizens. So I wish all of you all the best, and thank you very much.